We podcast and we know things wrote in and said about this as well. He says, hey, CDC, with Ben making a new IP but borrowing aspects from Days Gone, do you believe it will be set in an apocalyptic environment or something drastically different that simply borrows mechanical elements for what worked in Days Gone? Thanks for all you do. I really hope they get away from the post-apocalyptic thing. If they're going to let them out of this shit, let them out. And maybe it would be, you know, what would be fun? Maybe they make like a Grand Theft Auto style game. Maybe they're not making a getaway game. They're making a new IP. They've been explicit about that, but I do think Sony is missing that kind of game. A Saints Row or something like that. Some urban, gaudy, comical, over the top, addictive, zeitgeist type game. I don't know if Ben's capable of making that, but that would be kind of fun. What do you think they should do?
Yeah, it's hard to say. I feel like maybe a lot of it's probably easier in some ways to make a post-apocalyptic game because you don't need to fill the world with people in order to make it feel realistic. But I don't know. I honestly don't know of what kind of open world game. I think that something like GTA could be interesting. Obviously, if they can capitalize on something similar to GTA Online, which again, not that there would be a multiplayer element, but it could be interesting. It's weird now that you think about it. I'm thinking about it now, and it's like Horizon, post-apocalyptic, Last of Us, post-apocalyptic, Days Gone, post-apocalyptic. What do you do for an open world game that isn't a game that's kind of in the vein of a GTA?
Do you want to know a little? I don't think I've ever told anyone this publicly.
Oh,
but that, as I understand it, they were cognizant years ago that this was going to become a problem for them, the post-apocalyptic thing, because Resistance 4 was pitched to them. And the reason this was pitched to them during the PS3 era, and they declined Resistance 4 because it sounded like The Last of Us. And they didn't want the two games to be overlapping with each other. So Resistance was shut down at that point. So they've been long cognizant of having this collection of post-apocalyptic games. Resistance is a post-apocalyptic game. Killzone is technically a post-apocalyptic game too. So they do have to get away from it. It's just hard. I understand that blood and combat and viscera and all that shit always goes back to these common denominators. But there's got to be a way to break out. And games like The Pathless and others prove that you can have open worlds that are different. And yeah, so like I can tell you guys that with that great certainty. Resistance 4 was a game that was pitched at one time, and it was declined primarily because it was similar to The Last of Us, at least thematically. And you can see that.
That's so ironic, just because Days Gone is like way more similar, I would think, than a hypothetical Resistance 4.
Right, and that is interesting, but think about the time in which this happened. Resistance 3 came out in 2011, so this pitch is happening around the time that Bend is moving off of Uncharted, and they might have gone back at that point, because remember, this is now the time when like The Walking Dead's at its biggest, the Walking Dead games are coming out, all that, and they might be like, oh, wait a minute, maybe we do need a zombie game. And that seems to, you can kind of connect those tendrils as well. But I don't know. We'll see what happens. We're not going to hear about it for a long time, so gird your loins, boys and girls.